President Lee Jae-myung warned in a press conference on Thursday that Korean companies may be deterred from making significant future investments in the United States if changes are not made following the harrowing experience left by the U.S. immigration raid in Georgia. Companies will inevitably be concerned about any disadvantages or difficulties they may face in building factories over there. Lee said during a press conference marking his first 100 days in office at Blue House compound in central Seoul. Under current circumstances, Korean companies may become hesitant in making direct investment in the United States. Over 300 Korean workers were detained after U.S. immigration authorities recently raided an electric vehicle battery plant construction site for a joint venture between U.S. LG Energy Solution and Hyundai Motor Group in Georgia. U.S. authorities accused the detained Koreans of working in the country illegally. During the first press conference, Lee said that Seoul and Washington are working together to discuss improving visa issuance procedures, particularly in relation to Korean companies' investment in the United States. We are currently negotiating with the United States to normalize the issuance of visas related to U.S. investments, either by securing a high quota or creating a new category. Lee said, if the United States has a realistic need, I believe they will address the issue. The Georgia plant crackdown came after Lee visited Washington last month, following a trade deal in late July through which Korea promised a $350 billion investment fund for sectors such as shipbuilding and advanced industries. Lee admitted that the Georgia situation could be bewildering for Korean companies operating in the United States. He said the workers at the plant were short-term skilled workers, helping to build specialty plants, not those seek long-term permanent employment. Establishing a factory requires skilled workers to install the machinery and equipment, and the United States doesn't have that kind of personnel. Lee said, furthermore, they are refusing to grant visas to these workers. He warned that if such visa issues are not resolved, the problem would likely have a significant impact on future direct investment in the United States. Lee noted the situation could reflect possible cultural differences between Korea and the United States regarding their approach to visa regulations. However, he played down the possibility that the incident could affect broader Korea-US cooperation. In Korea, we think it's not a big deal, as Americans come on tourist visas and teach English at private academies, Lee said, downplaying Seoul's strict visa policies. However, the United States views it very differently. Under the current immigration policy, illegal employment is strictly prohibited, and they are aggressively enforcing deportations. Lee similarly assured that Korean detainees would be able to return to Seoul on their own terms, noting that the slight delay in their release was intended to ensure such conditions. Lee said U.S. President Donald Trump gave a directive to ensure the detainees were free to leave or stay as they wish, noting one person chose to remain in the United States to be with his family. Lee also addressed the follow-up discussions on the U.S. tariff negotiations, reiterating that we've overcome one small hurdle, but there will be countless hurdles to overcome before I leave office. He likewise stressed that he will not make any secret deals and will never make decisions that run counter to national interests of South Korea, nor engaging in any negotiations that deviate from rationality and fairness. During the press conference, Lee took questions from Korean journalists and foreign correspondents on diplomatic and security issues, including relations with Japan and North Korean denuclearization. Inter-Korean relations are not a problem that can be resolved solely by the South Korean authorities alone, Lee said. North Korea views the United States, not South Korea, as the key threat to its regime, and therefore considers its relationship with Washington more important than inter-Korean relations. He stressed that the resumption of the North-US dialogue will contribute to peace and stability on the Korean peninsula, and that Seoul isn't focused on taking the lead, which is why he said he will play the role of a pacemaker in his summit with President Trump. Lee also stressed his belief that Trump is the right person to contribute to peace on the Korean peninsula. Diplomatic negotiations by nature tend to escalate tensions to boost the negotiating leverage just before reaching a conclusion. And it seems we are going through that phase, Lee said. Lee admitted that North Korea's attitude remains cold despite South Korea's recent outreach efforts. That's our reality, he added. He said that Seoul would continue to pursue dialogue with Pyongyang, saying that regardless of their attitude, easing tensions is to our advantage. People will call me foolish if I talk about unification now, so it is important to establish a peace phase before that, said Lee. Regarding Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's resignation, Lee stressed that even if a new Japanese cabinet takes office, he would maintain his current two-track approach of pursuing practical diplomacy while addressing pending issues that must be discussed. The two leaders held talks both at the G7 summit in Canada in June and during Lee's visit to Tokyo last month. He admitted South Korean-Japan relations seems to be as difficult as relations with North Korea as are relations with the United States.